I'm so thrilled to be here. This is a conversation I wanted to have for a very, very long time with my friend and therapist, Kimberley Hopwood. I met Kimberley 3 and a bit years ago. I had a traumatic event in my life where, unfortunately, we had a pet pass away. One of my pets that was like a child to me, and it was in a really crappy situation. I instantly went into a shock, or what people might call PTSD, but I didn't realize that as a mom or as a stay-at-home mom or as a regular everyday person, that could happen to me. So I just thought, what's wrong with me? I can't get out of bed. I'm crying. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I can't talk to anybody without bursting out in tears. I didn't know what the problem was. And so my sister happened to be in a BNI group with Kimberley, and she called me and said, I think you need to meet Kimberley. I think you need to speak with her. And that one recommendation changed my entire life. It is something that most people don't talk about, going to therapy. It's something that people might feel shameful of or upset. Maybe they even feel embarrassed. But one of the things that I've learned over the past few years in dealing with past trauma is that the things that we heal through therapy will actually help us heal other people and help them even more. So I wanted to introduce you to Kimberley because I wouldn't be the human that I am today without her. I wouldn't be the person that has gone through some healing. We're always a work in progress. But she's somebody that I really value. I go to her for advice and for personal reflection, and she can show me my blind sides. And I feel really, really grateful that I can show people that therapy can actually be really normal, and that asking for help, even though we're in a society that can sometimes be really hard to ask for help, when you do ask for help, it's actually a sign of strength. It's one that will help you get better. So Kimberley, I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about you and tell the audience a little bit about you, because I know that they need to hear from you and need to hear what you do.
I think we all need to sort of hear and get what you're getting at there, which is that it's a process. There are places where we can learn, grow, and heal, and that we don't know what we don't know a lot of the time. That's what just touched me in your story. We haven't rehearsed this ahead of time. I'm just genuinely touched to hear your story. And we don't know what we don't know. And someone will say, hey, there's this. And it can open up a whole different set of opportunities for you, different ways to be in the world that are more empowered, get you more where you want to be. And we're free from all that stuff from the past that we may not have even known was in there kind of running the show a bit for us. So, brief introduction about me. I'm a clinical counselor, registered clinical counselor. I work with people around the world. And I have 2 specialties. One is helping people with trauma get past whatever that is for them, getting past their past. And then the other specialty is helping couples with really concrete, proven relationship skills that help them to get better right at the very first session. It's not talk therapy, it's neuroscience-based work that helps people really be able to get back on the same team fast. And I think I'm probably the only therapist in North America with these 2 particular specialties. Other people might do a little bit of both, but the stuff I've been doing this since 2002, helping people get unstuck and happy. And the field has changed a lot since then. And that's a good thing because we're learning more as we go along. So the short version of what we know now is also kind of parallel to the story of how I got to where I am, which is I started out wanting to help people. I knew that was my strength. And yet, at the same time, we could only go so far in helping people with regular talk therapy methods, because it turns out that if you could have thought your way through your problem and figured it out, you would have. If you could have talked through the problem, right, you would have. We can only go so far with those kinds of left brain experiences. There's more to us than just our talking and thinking. There's feeling, there's body, there's history, there's even pre-verbal or non-verbal ways of being in the world that can strengthen us, but also sometimes there's stuff in there that can kind of get us stuck.
If you're learning something today and you want to learn more, click the subscribe button below, and I'd love to see you again.
And so when I first heard about some of these more neuroscience-based therapies, I did a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, was my undergrad. So I was into science, I was into what's proven to work, but also open to whatever. And when I first heard about some of these neuroscience-based therapies, I went, this is no way this is going to work. This stuff's crazy. And I was a bad scientist. I actually didn't even go and investigate them. I just decided, nope, the earth is flat. They don't know what they're talking about. That was me, right? I think I had something to learn there. Long story short, I eventually did learn about some of these therapies by, like you, experiencing an event and going and getting the help that I needed and trying it out. And oh my gosh, it worked. And it not only worked, the results were measurable and they were permanent. And so this was pretty compelling and short. It's not like you have to be in therapy for years to get over some of this stuff. And then, of course, the question is, what is it we're getting over? Well, a lot of people say, I haven't had anything bad happen to me, or I had the normal bad stuff that we all experience growing up. And what we know now is that the accumulation of what we call small t traumas, not the big events like the one that you experienced, or like war, or even other things. I won't say what the other things are because some people's mirror neurons can get activated if I say the words. But it doesn't have to be a big deal thing. It can be that accumulation of little small t things, like getting bullied in school, like there's just all those so-called normal things that can add up. And what can happen is you start to realize you should be able to go a little farther, but you're feeling a little bit held back. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. These little things that can add up in just even a normal, healthy childhood can get us to the point where, say, like one client, not my client, but this person was saying, I don't know why, but it feels like I just can't go for what I want. And doing one of these neuroscience-based therapies like EMDR, E is for desensitizing, the R is for reprocessing. And when this therapy was created, it started with bilateral brain stimulation based on eye movements, but there are other ways of doing that now too. Anyway, so this person comes for therapy and he says, I don't know why, I just can't seem to go for what I want. I know that I'm well competent, look at my resume, but I can't send it out. I don't know what's stopping me. And after very few sessions of this kind of neuroscience-based reprocessing therapy, what this person realized was that this memory or this experience in current time was based on a memory from way back in their past when they were told by a well-meaning parent, don't play with your ball at the top of the stairs.
Right.
You could get hurt. And mom was busy one day and this person was playing with their ball at the top of the stairs, and the ball starts to go down the stairs. They went to try to get it so mom wouldn't be upset. They fell down the stairs. And like any mother would, she comes running, picks up her small child and says, I thought I told you never to play at the top of the stairs. Well, in that moment, that little child's nervous system processed that as, I can't go for what I want. Is this crazy or what? No, this is what happens. And so then as an adult, there they were, not reaching out to do the things they knew they were capable of doing. They just couldn't go for what they want. See how this happens? And so very short order, that memory was desensitized and reprocessed. The current issues, triggers, and the blocking beliefs were just eliminated. This person was well able to go on and have what they wanted in their career and in their life. So this is an example of how it's kind of like we don't know what we don't know, but when circumstances bring us, say, like in your situation, to a place where I need a bit of help with the residual of this big event that's happened, then all of a sudden we realize, oh my gosh, isn't this interesting? That connects to these other things, connects to this, and we can really clear the deck and be really solid, centered, grounded, present, confident as we're going forward. So you mentioned something about it's like we change our beliefs. We are all about healing. We're all about growth. And coming back full circle again, like if we could have thought our way through those belief issues, we'd get there. But we've done good stuff so far. But if we're stuck, then typically there's something like this person experienced. I just can't go for what I want. Oh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, and having those realizations as an adult and being able to reflect on, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you had a bad childhood. There was a one moment. I remember saying to you, I'm so scared I'm going to screw up my kid by doing something, by reacting. And you just said, it's okay. You're going to screw up your kid. Just pay for therapy later. Right. Like and I get it. I'm like, that makes sense. I wish
a little bit there.
that's how I'm like, I'll just pay for therapy later. Right. And so I just like, that makes sense to me because you have these knee jerk reactions because your life is going by so busy. And it could be a very well-intentioned parent, a very loving parent, and one moment that sets the tone for the rest of your life. And so often there are, I meet adults all the time that are so scared to move forward, or I don't know what's holding me back, but we've been pre-programmed, or there's been generational trauma of pre-programming, right? Narcissistic behavior or things that have happened in their life that are just like, wait a second, I don't have to own that anymore. And can I tell everyone that's watching that is a massive relief when somebody tells you that you don't have to own that crap anymore?
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, there's a freedom, and it's a solid kind of expansive relief and ease and strength to know that you can change that. You can get past your past, even if you didn't know what that past was. When you experience anything in the present that's saying, yeah, but, and this comes back to my work with couples, when we give people these proven effective tools that help change the dynamic right away, and there's a party that's going, yeah, but, I don't want to use tools because, yeah, but, that's usually something that's been stored in. And it could be a little thing like this person with the example of the ball, or it could be some other little tiny thing that we just made life mean this. My example of this is the story of how I got my name. Yeah. When I was doing this therapy for my event, the thing that my body and brain went back to was the memory of how I got my name. Normal story, normal experience. I was the firstborn. My mom's in the hospital. My dad's away on business. And my mother, of course, postpartum, hormones, whatever, is reaching for a Kleenex because she's crying. I didn't have a name yet. And my mother went, oh, Kleenex is made by the Kimberley Company. That's a good name for a girl. Well, that's just a kind of charming little story, right? Except what my little nervous system made that story mean was I must not be good enough. Because if I had been, you wouldn't have been crying. No one ever told me that. It wasn't a big, painful, fraught event, but it was just a little tiny thing. And when I desensitized and reprocessed that memory, wow, there was like everything was open now. Like really, I can handle anything.
And it seems like such a small thing, but when we process it at that level, it's our perspective, right? And that's something that I talk about all the time. We live life in our perspective. Everybody else is living life in their perspective. So how can our perspective shift and change to adjust to others, right? To what they're perceiving. Can you talk a little bit more about EMDR? Like one of the reasons that I got really excited about it when I first started talking to you is people kind of roll their eyes at talk therapy. I'm not saying that it's not beneficial. There are definitely benefits to it. But when you're like, no, Christina, this is neuroscience. This is proven to like rewire your brain, and you won't, like as we do the work, you won't feel the emotional attachment. That's what I really love about what you do, is that we have these different traumas that happen in our life, but by rewiring that neural pathway, we don't feel the emotion. We can recount the activity. It'll always be there. We experienced it, but we don't have this emotional trauma that hinders our decision-making skills. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Have you seen that little meme that's out there that says wisdom is a memory without the emotional charge?
Oh, that's
a good one, eh?
Good.
That's really good. And that's the truth. That memory that of my how I got my name wasn't even a memory I remembered having until we did this specialty neuroscience-based process that helps you to figure out what is it current time that I'm stuck with, and what, if anything, might be the earlier, maybe even the first time where I got that installed. And then we desensitize and reprocess that first memory, the worst, the current issues and triggers, and the future. And this idea that like you can think your way through that, I could have been in therapy my whole life and never known that was the root event that was underneath any sorts of feelings of insecurity, that I'm not good enough to be able to take on this big game, this big task, this big role that I'm called to, right? I would never have found that in therapy. And so that's why talk therapy is important, and being able to change what you think, what you do, super good. And perhaps most important, being able to be validated that what you're going through is normal and challenging and that there are options. All of those things are good about talk therapy. And when we're still stuck, we have to go into the neural network in a different way.
Absolutely. And that's something that you can't do on your own. I remember trying to think myself out of all of these things and trying to do personal development and courses and coaching. But when it's innately ingrained in you, it's something that you have to ask for help, so that, because you can't see your blind sides, you can't see, or your blind spots, you can't see the other way around. And that's one of the things that I love about working with you, is that you graciously show me those things, so that I have a different perspective. And that's what all of this is about, is showing a different perspective so that you can heal that past trauma and be able to move forward in your full purpose and in your vision of your adult life, and without any of those hindrances.
Yeah, it totally is that. And to that end, I just want to own it, that and share it, that if you're working with somebody who isn't doing their own work and doesn't have their own therapist that they go to see their own blind spots, maybe think about that, because I, like you, have someone who's helping me find my blind spots. We're a work in process, right? It's never finished. We're never done. We're never there.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's having a team.
Can I get up and get you a picture of something that I should have brought up here? Let me get it. I want to show you.
Please show me.
You know what they say, right? That a picture says 1,000 words.
Yes.
I'm going to get 2,000 words.
I love it.
The first one is this one. I show my clients this picture, right? This is what we want. We want life to be clear, healthy, the clear fishbowl. But when we've grown up in a situation with accumulated small t traumas or a number of other things, it can feel like this, but we got used to it being like this. And so that's why it's so important to do this work if we are finding we're a little stuck somewhere in our lives, so that we can be here more of the time, if not most of the time. And then as soon as it starts to head toward feeling that green fishbowl feeling again, if you ask this fish, what do you know about water? It doesn't know anything. It's just what it's in, right? And so this is this idea of changing the perspective a little bit. I love that analogy, and I use it with my clients sometimes. I'll say, are you asking me that question from the green fishbowl or from the clear fishbowl? They'll go, yeah, that's a green fishbowl question. Here's another picture I'm going to show you. This is an fMRI of someone's brain who had some activation and triggery stuff going on about a certain situation. And after 6 EMDR sessions, the situation, the triggery thing, it's just not lighting the person's brain up anymore at all. And so this is what I mean when I say it's like concrete, measurable, observable. You feel the differences ripple out to the rest of your life. But it's just so powerful to be able to get this work done, and it's faster than the speed of speech.
I know, and I love it because I don't have to talk about it.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty powerful. And so, full circle, I started out as kind of like bad scientist, right? Going, no, this stuff can't work. And then through personal experience, I saw that it did work. And then I read the literature about it, and I was like, oh, whoops, I should have informed myself a little bit more. And that might be why, if you or your viewers have had an experience of therapy, but they've never heard of it, well, that's kind of why. This isn't taught in graduate school. You have to actually have finished your training to be able to get trained in these specialty therapies. So it's kind of cool, but also kind of like, oh, we didn't know.
Right. I'm so grateful, though, because it's starting to become more mainstream. I'm hearing about it more and more often because of the science behind it, because of the results based behind it. So one of the things that you mentioned is that one of your expertises is working with married couples, which I think is fabulous. And I know you've got a book coming out. So do you want to talk a little bit about that and why you felt that there was a need for that?
Yeah, this is, it's an interesting time right now. So many of us see, people's feeds, their Instagram pictures, and they think everybody else has a perfect relationship. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with us? Why isn't my life like that? And the truth is that we just learn what we learn from the families we grow up in, from the world around us through experience. But nobody teaches us what we know from science about how to have a great relationship and what puts relationships at risk and what to do about it. We can predict now with 94% accuracy which couples will make it and which ones won't before they even move in with each other. And if you say that to a couple, they'll go like, I don't want to know. I want to, right?
I would want to know.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
you and I, we might be a bit different, but most people, they don't want to know. They want to believe in the fairy tale, or they want to believe in love. And so the point of all that is that it's kind of like buying a car. If you were going to go buy a used car and you brought your friend along with you who knows all about cars, you love this car, you think it's going to be great, and your friend says, yeah, well, it's a nice car, but 5 years from now, that car is probably not going to be running well. Would you want to do something about that? If your friend said, well, you can take care of this, this, and this, and your car is going to be great for like, not forever, but for a long, long time, it's a car, right? But if your friend could say, yeah, it won't make it, you'd go like, okay, right, let's look for something else. But actually your friend would say, but this, and this, maybe if you sort of tinker with that, then you'll have what you're hoping for from this. This is what you can get. Well, most people in that context, they'd say, yes, I would like to know. And so this is the thing. The book that I've just finished is called Can I Save My Marriage? And it's about helping couples who are in distress know what they can do to change their dynamic right away. And people go like, what? I don't need to be in therapy for like months, years? Well, the truth is, no, you don't. There are simple things that you can do that can influence your partner's brain and your brain so that you can change the dance that you've been doing and really be more of a team about the things that you guys were bumping up against each other about. So these are neuroscience-based tools that make relationships work, guaranteed.
I think that is incredible. I think that that's incredible that you can use science and people's personalities to determine that, and then also give them a couple of tools that can help them work through it, right? Because what if the two people that are not meant to be together have the tools that you have in the book, right? And they decide and they choose to grow together in that way. Because I'm a firm believer in that if you don't choose to grow with somebody, you're choosing without realizing to grow apart. And so I really appreciate that you've done that work, because especially after this year where a lot of people have been under stress in their marriages, they've been at home with kids, they've been homeschooling, they've been trying to figure life out. That transition is not easy. It is not a normal thing.
No, it's not. And relationship really is the hardest sort of practice of all, because well, no, let me think about that. It's one of the hardest practices of all in life, because nobody sort of reflects back to us our own growth points like our partner will. And that's a good thing, and that's a challenging thing sometimes. But even more, just as you sort of alluded to, Christina, I started out wanting to work with children and help children. And I realized, no, it's really the focus needs to be on the system and on the couple. And so the things that people learn when they work with me as a couple is the tools change their dynamic right away, but also will change their relationship with their kids and their kids' kids. So like it makes a difference that lasts for 100 years. That's all.
Right. And so that's what I mean about breaking generational curses, is that you break them with the people that are willing, and the people that are showing up, and the people that want more. And that was a huge priority for me, knowing that I wanted to raise my daughter differently. And I think everybody does. And I don't say it because I didn't come from a great household. I say it because we all, it's evolution. We all want what's better for our kids than we had growing up. And I think a lot of people feel that way. So I love that you focused on the heart of the family, because they're the ones that raise the littles, and then the littles go off and they mimic exactly what their parents did, or they'll try and close the loop.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do learn what we see sort of by osmosis in our family. And that's the thing about relationships, is that we sort of take it in like the green fishbowl. And then we find ourselves in a relationship with someone, and we do what we know from what we've experienced in life so far, but we don't know how much more could be possible. So people end up often coming to see me after having seen a few other relationship counselors and saying, I don't think it's salvageable, but somebody told me we should see you. And I'll say, did you do this with your other therapist? No. Did you do this? Did you do this? I go, great. That means that there's hope here. And usually in short order, people start to see it's a whole different ball game when you're using neuroscience-based therapies and proven effective tools that influence each other's nervous systems. You get back on the same team faster. And then what I say to my clients is the thing that used to spin you guys out for days, weeks, or months, you could even resolve that now within 12 minutes. Well,
Who would
that's
not love that?
right. Yeah. Who wouldn't want that? So these two things link together, those two specialties, but even without the couple piece, even if just one person does their own work on what's going on when things are flaring up for them at work, in their families, or in their partnerships with their significant other, if just one of you does the work and changes the dance has to change. And so that's the thing. People will say, does my partner have to come? Well, it's good if they can. You'll get there faster, but you can make a difference even all on your own. So that the thing that used to make you get a little bit fired up, you don't. In fact, I had a client one time, after they had done their part of the work, send me an email that said in the subject line, what the F have you done to my brain? And I was like, oh my God, what happened? I was actually pretty nervous about that. And I clicked on the email and they said, I don't know what the F you did to my brain, but it worked. The thing that used to make me all kind of get activated, well, it was totally different. And I was actually laughing inside when it happened this time. We were able to get through it and be on the same team, no problem. Who wouldn't want that?
I can give you the same testimony for some of the things that we've talked about. And what I love about EMDR is that it ripples out. You start to see it in different areas of your life. If you've got the same issue that keeps coming up in your life, it's going to show up in business and relationships and whatever until you heal that part of you. And I remember the moment that I thought of you when that rippled out for me. And I did laugh. And it was just this like epiphany that I was like, wow, my entire life I've thought it was this way. And now I see it this way. And it's actually quite funny. You know?
Right.
So it's bringing that lightheartedness to things that you struggle with. And one of the things that I so value about you, Kimberley, is that you have brought hope to so many. You've brought hope to myself. Like when you said hope, I was like, you are a hope dealer. That's what you do for people, is that you give them hope in healing. You give them hope in their marriage. You give them hope in their life, in their career. And I don't think that many people realize that therapy doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong with you or something's bad. It could be that you're a high performer. You could want more out of life and you want consult because you can't make it on your own. And that's, like you said, you have a therapist, like your therapist should have a therapist. You should have a mentor. You should have a coach. You should have a team of people that are around you that can help you move forward. So that's one of the things that I really value about you. If there's anything that I would love to leave people with, it's where they can find you. So I don't know, you're in Victoria on Vancouver Island. Where can people find you? And if they want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, easy. If you go to a website that's called Island EMDR, that's one word, Island EMDR, you'll see ways to get in touch with me. They're super easy to do, poke around about EMDR, find a bit about that. If you like, I have another website too. I'm in the process of amalgamating, but for now you can go to khcounseling.com, and that's counseling with the Canadian version, 2 L's, khcounseling.com, and learn a little bit more about me if you like, or just send an email if you like to islandemdr@gmail.com and we can connect. There's always hope. I say to people, there's always hope. There's always a way forward, but sometimes we can't find it. And that's the job of our team, to be able to see a little bit broader and support us when it feels like we're stuck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that we can do this again, because I think the work that you do is necessary. I think it's powerful. It has absolutely changed my life and how I see things and how I operate on a daily basis. Kimberley has made me a better human times 1,000. And I just feel very, very grateful to be able to connect with her and be able to share her with you, because I have recommended her to multiple people that have gone through things. And she's been so helpful. So Kimberley, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. I love you. And what you're doing good work.
And likewise, I'm back at you. And next time, what we could do, if you're interested, is we could do a few neuroscience-based tools to help sort of influence dynamics from the inside out. If you want, we could.
Ooh, I would love that. We'll definitely plan for that, because that sounds amazing. I think I might just throw you in my mastermind for that one, because we've got some people that are committed to growth there.
That'd be cool.
Thank you so much, Kimberley. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Take good care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye. If you think this video can help a friend, make sure you share it.